Well, the Angels fired their coach, the GM's right-hand man. The former Angels GM gets fired amidst a possible scandal. USC limps to victory against Colorado. BYU beats another Big Ten team because they climb to the pile of the worst, the best Big 12 as they climb to the top of the worst conference in football right now. And Buck Showalter wants to be the Angels manager. Well,
I have fears about that. Buck Showalter. I've already told you this.
Yeah. Well, apparently we're doing cold opens because I was just a cold open.
Yeah, no. Welcome to Coffee with Specks and Bryce, and I'm back. I'm back, baby, and better than ever.
He had a whole week. Do you watch? I want to ask you that. I don't think you do. You don't listen. You don't watch the Kelsey Brothers podcast, do you?
Oh, I saw the. Everybody was like chattering on BYU Twitter about the.
Yeah, whole, he lost he lost the bet.
He was wearing a BYU jersey,
and it had his name on the back.
The name on the back, yeah, no, yeah, it was all the rage, and so now Utah fans are posting. So Utah had this whole. I mean, we'll get into the college football stuff in a little bit, but just since this isn't really going to be part of that discussion.
This
Utah
is more
had
fun.
This whole thing with the with their Crimson Collective, which we could talk about that a little bit, but they gave all their players trucks.
I saw that.
So we could talk about that in a little bit. But anyways,
as
part of the Crimson Collective, one of the things that they're releasing is like a media app of something, and the media app has like an AI bot, and some people had the AI bot draw Post Malone in a bunch of like Utah situations. It's like kind of fun. It's kind of fun in a way, but it's like first of all, if you look too closely at some of the faces in the crowd,
it looks bad.
It looks it's nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah, they're bad.
But also somebody made the point, and BYU fan made the point of Utah has no big name celebrity fans, because BYU does actually have some
USC
celebrity fans. And Utah doesn't have any celebrity fans, so
they have to seal Post Malone.
One of them that you have to AI Post Malone into being a Utah fan. So,
yeah, isn't that fun? Yeah. So the Angels let go of Phil Nevin yesterday. He had a 1-year deal. Apparently had an option on it. It wasn't picked up. According to reports, it was it was a collaborative decision between both Perry Manassian and Artie Moreno. As everyone's favorite lie is that it was Perry's decision to fire Joe Madden. I will take to the grave that it wasn't, but nevertheless, that happened. And then I think a couple days later, it was reported that by Mike Puma on Twitter that Buck Showalter not only wants to keep managing, he wants to get an interview with the Angels.
Ooh.
And one of the things that's, I guess, interesting if you're into these kind of things is in that same article in that article, one excerpt that sort of is interesting in an article written by The Athletic, Britt Groli. It's Italian. I'm gonna butcher it, but
Britt Groli.
It's GH and it's like Groli. I'm sorry, Britt.
Groli.
In this article, he excelled at in this article it said he excelled at motivating young teams, building groups with the D-backs, Yankees that would win the World Series after he left. In Baltimore, Showalter revamped the culture and got a young, relatively unproven group to eliminate a stretch of 14 consecutive losing seasons in 2012. So definitely I'm sure he sees that young core and wants to help mold them. And I said this in text, where if he were to come, all the nonsense we'd have with Rendon would vanish in a heartbeat. But I know.
Are you a Showalter believer, or do you not like Showalter?
If they were to say if they were to sign Showalter, I'd be very intrigued to see who would be his bench coach. In my mind, the reason why I'm saying like, oh, that would be the interesting thing, because Buck's fairly old. He's not exactly a young Buck anymore. LOL. He's 67.
A young Buck. He's a young Buck.
He's 67. So if they were to say like, hey, we'll give you 3 years and then to keep it kind of flowing, your bench coach will take over for you or something. So if that were the case, it'd be interesting to see who would bring along, because then you could just have a succession plan from Buck in like, I don't know, 3 to 4 years into whoever it is in his bench coach. Realistically, Buck's not my first choice, but I mean, if he's saying like, hey, I think I'd be a great fit here, I mean, I won't say no. I won't say no to an interview. He's not my first choice. In terms of managers, I don't even necessarily know who I want. I just think they need to get away from it. I'm going to say this. You might disagree with me. My big wish is I want the Angels to get away from the Mike Scioscia, the managing tree. I want them to get away from the 2002 World Series team. I want them to really just find the best guy for the job. And if we're constantly, this has right now, it feels like how it did with like USC, where for a while it was like USC went from, I know you love USC, but USC went from Pete Carroll to Lane Kiffin to Steve Sarkisian. And it was just like, we need to get away from the Pete Carroll tree, bringing guys who aren't from here. And, you know, it essentially works. And I think that's what the Angels need to do. It's like, I keep seeing like, oh, bring on Erstad. We don't need to bring in Erstad. Bring in, you know, all these former Angels. And it's like, hey, how about, I don't know, Gabe Gapler? How about, I don't know, Kyle Snyder? I don't know. How about we bring in Eric Chavez? I don't know. How about we bring in Rocco Bodelli if he's available? How about we, you know, Mike Napoli? Well, Mike Napoli's a former Angel. But bring in guys who either haven't had managing experience or guys that fit what we want. Like, I'm not saying Buck wouldn't fit, but really, it's like, do we want to do the old, hey, let's bring in the old guy again?
Yeah,
like we have been.
You know, my answer to all this, and I know what you'd say to this answer is, it's whoever Trout and Ohtani want.
No, I don't think it's necessarily whoever Trout and Ohtani want.
I know, but like, if you want to, like, if you're really insistent on competing now, then you need to figure out a way to sign them. So it's like, I know that it won't happen, but my answer would be, go to Trout and Ohtani and say,
you don't.
I know it's not gonna happen.
Well, you just don't do that in general. Like, you can ask for input, but having them make a decision just isn't a good idea.
But like, if you're saying, but if you were to say, hey, Trout, hey, Ohtani, if you could choose your manager,
well, what if they say Phil? Like, that's the problem. Like, that's the problem.
But you go to them and you say, outside of who we just fired,
outside of who we can't,
outside of anybody who's worked for the Angels previously,
who they want,
who do you want? And if they say, you know, Buck Showalter, then you go to Buck and you say, hey, we heard you want to work for us, and you try to just pull him in with whatever you need to do, and then
I'm just saying,
you say, hey, Ohtani, you want to resign now? We've got your manager of choice, and then do whatever you need to do to keep Ohtani going.
We'll see. It's a long off season, but it's
interesting. How serious is Moreno about winning is the real question, because Moreno's still if he's still just being a dumb, then then the problem is going to be that we're going to sign maybe one big name and a bunch of fillers, and then we're going to go into next season going, if we're healthy, we can maybe sneak into the playoffs.
No,
like we were this year.
It goes,
and then we'll get unhealthy again, and we'll lose and lose and lose.
Well, doesn't it go back to what I was initially saying of you're better off playing to your standing than trying to outperform your standing? Like, if you think you're, despite, I guess hilariously, maybe we can't outdo the Mariners because apparently Jerry Dipoto's back to being Jerry Dipoto, who I said he always was, is sort of an idiot, where he's talking about winning, 54% of your games or something, which is about 90 wins, and trying to like BS his way through things because his team's upset they don't sign star players to fix the rosters and stuff. So I don't necessarily think like that'll solve anything. You can't, I'm trying to think of the right words. You can't, Seattle definitely like has a tendency to overperform. Angels have a tendency to underperform. But if you're trying to set yourself up to succeed, part of it is trying to figure out where you are in the grand scheme of things. In the standings, it's a lot easier to say like, hey, we're a top 2 team out of 5 or top 2 team out of 4 than saying we're a 4th place team trying to jump 2 spots. That's hard.
Yeah. So, I would be opposed to Showalter, but like, I also would prefer a name like Benji Gill or I don't want any more former Angels. That's like my number one thing. It's like, I don't want Ray Montgomery. I don't want Benji Gill. I don't want any of these losers. If you used to think Benji Gill.
Yeah, but I've wised up to the idea of anyone who's involved with this losing failure culture. I don't want. I want a fresh start. I want everyone fresh. Like, could Benji Gill manage?
Look at what Benji Gill did with Mexico.
No, I'm not saying that's not great, but like I said, I don't want any lingering stench of what this loser franchise has been for the last 2 years. I want a fresh start.
Sure.
Which is why, like, I don't want Ray Montgomery. I don't want Benji Gill. I'm sure they'll be good somewhere else, but not here.
Yeah.
I don't want him.
I don't know. I would. Benji Gill's the one person from that staff that I would consider.
He might be if they kept him around as like a bench coach, then he could take over. Wouldn't be the worst idea. But I don't.
If not, whoever you do get, just make sure he's in lockstep with Perry, and just make sure that he's an analytics guy. Because like at this point, I think part of the problem is for the past however many years, I mean, by all accounts, it seems like Nevin, by most reports, it seems that he was willing to at least do some analytics, like more so than Vasquez. The only analytics guy we've had so far was Brad Osmus.
They had Brad Osmus and it imploded.
He was a disaster in other ways.
It
has to be the right fit in more than just analytics. It can't just be all analytics.
I think, Osmus was very much, you're going from Socha to Osmus was very much the pendulum going from very little analytics to a lot of analytics. Madden was sort of like that midpoint of like, he'll use it. He'll use analytics and stuff like clearly. And then with
Nevin
Phil,
was kind of in that same ballpark.
I think with Nevin, in terms of that, the guy they let go today, Alan. Oh my God, Mr. What's his name? Alan. Alex Tammon was let go today, and he was Perry's right-hand guy. For them, and this is from our friends over at Locked On Angels. They stated earlier this season that Tammon's playbook was how Phil Nevin was expected to operate and manage the bullpen usage until Artie stepped in and told Perry to let him do his job. It certainly got better than what it was start the year after that conversation, but Phil's just making the games is not always great when he had the autonomy to do so. Those first few weeks of the season's bullpen's management were awful. So in terms of that, it seems like they let go of the one guy who was kind of controlling the analytics side, at least to a certain degree, in Alex Tammon. I don't know if that necessarily is just because, what Tammon was doing wasn't correct. And Perry, I mean, it could be a thing of like Perry could have had the foresight in realizing it wasn't working. What he was trying to do just flat out wasn't working. Possible, but it is just noting that Tammon, who was his right-hand guy, did leave.
Yeah.
Have parted ways, whatever that means. And Tammon was also in Atlanta with Perry. But I don't recall bullpen usage with Atlanta.
I just want to see a report come out. I know it's not going to happen.
I feel like it wasn't that good.
I'd be wishing too hard, but I just want to see a news release of the Angels and whatchamacallit, the Angels and Carpino have decided to part, or have mutually decided to part ways.
It won't be
and then
mutual.
The Angels bring in like a super like. No, I know, but like that's always how the release goes. It's never.
It's always
relieved. It's always the Angels and this person have mutually agreed to part ways.
I mean, the funny part of it is, and I know it's like Perry's last year, and people are sort of like, so that's why they're saying like, it's not a a job like worth taking. But what's interesting though is Perry might be the first GM to tell already no since Tony Regan's, which is something to note, I think.
You didn't like Tony Regan's though, right?
No, I liked Regan's.
Oh, you liked Regan's? Why did I think you didn't like him?
I didn't like him when he did the stupid trade for Vernon Wells, but as years later it comes out that it was Artie who wanted that deal done, and that's why he left, because he literally told Regan's, make this deal, you're fired. So he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. Artie's like, I see this good marketing opportunity out there. Go trade for it. And it's like,
so
that's like not how baseball works.
Yeah. So I mean, it really just comes down to how all that sort of comes together. I don't necessarily think it necessarily makes a difference one way or the other.
Outside of Showalter, based on just people that you're generally aware of that are out on the market for managers, is there anybody you would like anybody you would have your eye on as like a possible, like, I know you mentioned that the big splash hire was going to be, like,
I said DeRosa. Yeah, I said DeRosa would be the splash hire. I think DeRosa would be an interesting one, but like that's me that's me legitimately saying like I want somebody new. I don't want like a recycled guy. I think DeRosa would be like I do think DeRosa would be the best one for the job because he did manage Trout in the WBC. He kind of like DeRosa definitely got a taste, which is a fair thing. And then if they can, I'll say this: if they bring in a rookie manager, they better re-sign Perry, because you'd want that guy to kind of like flourish. Whereas if they bring in a veteran manager like Showalter, they can fire Perry and they can he would just slide through because like, oh, we know what Buck can do. So it sort of it kind of just depends on what ends up going on. It's one of those two options. It's not, there is no, real middle ground. I think it's one of the two.
I just want the Angels to make the playoffs sometime in the near future. That's too much to ask.
Apparently.
It's like for me, I'm like, okay, Artie, this year, you either have to put up or shut up.
He did that this year, and look what happened.
No. But what I'm saying is yeah, no, but he did it in the trade deadline.
Okay.
And they were able to get some interesting names, but not like that's not the way you build a team by getting rentals. Because like regardless, those guys mostly were rentals.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is go into this offseason. You either have to go into this offseason.
They pulled they did what the Braves did at the deadline when they rebuilt, and it worked for the Braves. So they did what they had to do.
I agree that no. I'm not saying and look, they just came into the season built with. They're built okay. Like even their depth, like we were talking about it. I mentioned like I felt like their depth going into this year was really good.
When they were healthy, they were a playoff team.
And every freaking team, every freaking piece of depth that they had. What was his name? Urshela got injured. It was like we ended up dipping into Neto because we were like, well, got no one to play short right now. Fletch isn't doing it, and all our normal options are
gone,
injured. Yeah. And then it's like Rendon went down, which like, oh well, good riddance. Trout was out. Shohei spent some time being injured. It's like every piece of depth we had was like, yep, nope, all these guys are being injured. It's like, why are all these guys hurt all the time?
Well, it wasn't. Apparently, it's not because of the training staff. Because there was an article that said that it was apparently good.
We
better.
Well, I don't know, but we need. What we need is the Angels to go out and just be like, look, we're gonna put together the best team on paper. Like, I don't know. If Artie's serious about. It's like, here's my thing. The Angels either need to say, all right, we're gonna go to this offseason. We're gonna try to sign every big free agent name. We're not gonna. The problem is a lot of the time when the Angels come in on these free agents over the years, and like, yeah, I think there have been some misses that were good, like Jason Hayward.
Yeah.
But it's like too often I think the reporting comes back where it's like, yeah, the Angels made an offer and it was competitive but not gonna blow you away kind of offer, but then there's always a team that's coming in and going, you know the Cardinals or whoever are coming in and going, we're gonna blow you out of the water with this offer. It's like, why are the Angels, like, ever since Pujols basically, they're never the team that's coming in and going,
they're timid. I think they're kind of scared.
Blow you out of the water. That's the thing.
Which is understandable.
At this point, you have missed the playoffs so many years that you either need to go into the offseason saying we're going to sign as many free agents as we can, blowing as many offers as we can out of the water, or just go into the offseason and say we're going to trade Trout, we're going to make a qualifying offer to Ohtani, but we're not going to really make a super competitive offer. That way he'll go away, we can get that draft pick, and then just kind of like shuffle through, like, get as much value out of whatever you have on the roster as possible. Let the young guys like Neto and Shanwell play, and then just be like, look, we're gonna suck for a few years. We're gonna get the number one, hopefully get top 5 draft pick for the next 3-5 years, and then at least in 2028 I can go, look at this team.
There's something. At least you got something, right?
Colors. And then like 2032, where like suddenly everybody's like, oh, the Angels so good. They built our farm system. Look at this. It's like,
that's yeah. Well, real quickly, speaking of former Angel failures, Billy Epler left or stepped down.
I was a Billy Epler believer.
Billy Epler sucked, and he sucked in New York, and now he's walking away. Now he's gonna get in trouble with the MLB for IL fraud.
I didn't.
Which is interesting.
I didn't. I will say this. I realized how wrong I was on reflection of Epler. After he left, after I had a year or so to
I realized it.
On that, I was like, oh yeah.
I realized it when he went to New York and was literally doing the same thing he did in Anaheim with just better pieces. I made the comment at the time. I said, you know, Billy Epler is still Billy Epler. It's just instead of shopping at Dollar General, he's now shopping at Dollar Tree. It's the same crap, different day. And it just happened to work because you had to run.
Versus Dollar Tree. You went from a cheap store to an even cheaper store.
Is one cheaper than the other? I always felt like Dollar Tree was like a step above.
No, Dollar Tree is where everything's actually a dollar. Dollar General is where it's like
around.
It's good deals typically. I think.
Should I say Dollar Tree to like Five Below? Is that better?
Well, I mean, I would say it's more like I would go with a different.
The nine like Target to Walmart.
No, I go with a different metaphor entirely. I'd say it's like shopping at your local junkyard for a new car versus shopping at a Lamborghini dealership, like
a used Lamborghini dealership.
Yeah, like I don't know that there is an actual Lamborghini dealership, but
you've gone from shopping at a
shopping at a cheap spot.
Wait, I got it.
Shopping at a Tesla dealership.
Instead of dumpster diving at a McDonald's or a 7-Eleven, you're now dumpster diving at like a ritzy restaurant. It's still trash, but it's slightly better trash.
Yeah, well. That's what I was gonna say though. It's like he was going from cheap options to expensive options, but he wasn't choosing the right expensive option.
Yeah, it was like Trader Joe's to Whole Foods.
Well, it was no, but it was like he was ordering. It was like he was ordering the filet of fish at McDonald's, and then going. And then I'm trying to think of a good like upscale restaurant. Is this going to an upscale restaurant
and ordering the salmon?
And ordering like a burger or the salmon or something like.
I'll have the salmon.
You should be ordering the what?
No, I'm just like, I'll have the salmon.
Yeah, no, it's like you're making the wrong choice here, guy. You have someone who's willing to pay for the filet mignon, and you're still choosing the salmon. Like you're the guy who's going to this expensive restaurant going, can I have your catfish? I hear it's really good. And it's like, yeah, it looks good, but like you're not putting it together. And then they traded the one good like team guy they had last year to the Angels.
Yeah. Well.
Anyways,
oh yeah.
I throw my hands up in the air, and I hope that the Angels will finally put up if they're really gonna buy into next season. Then like. You go into that offseason and you're like, I don't know who the top, like besides Shohei, I don't know who the top guys are, but you go to the top pitching prospects and you go, or not prospects, top pitching free agents, and you go, we are going to pay hard.
Yeah.
And just like collect like 2 or 3 of those guys, use the rest to supplement the pitching staff, and then be like, hey Shohei, come here. Look, this is who we got. You wanna play on this World Series team now? And then Shohei's like, I love it here. Why not? Like, no, I think Shohei's gonna wait a little bit into the offseason because I honestly think he wants to see what teams do, and then he's gonna just decide on what makes the most sense for him in terms of his preferred types of destinations. So,
well, shifting gears. Let's go over to
that's a good transition
to college football, I guess, where USC and BYU both got wins.
We got to come out with transitions for this and be like, and now college football.
No, never.
I want to see you edit this whole thing and have
not
it
happening.
Just be like the transition, just be like me saying, and now college football.
All right, so USC and BYU both won in different fashions. USC won a shootout. BYU beat another crappy Big 12 team. Congratulations.
Cincinnati's not crappy.
Congratulations.
But Cincinnati also kind of beat themselves in a lot of ways.
That was last Friday.
I don't know if you watched the replays, but there was a couple of plays where on one of them BYU had a pick six. and the corner who got the pick six is really good. He's really talented, but they were running a man offense on the receivers, and the Cincinnati ran a cross routes, and he got peeled off of his receiver and kind of got lost. And then he looked at the quarterback to see what was going on, and the quarterback was kind of like staring down the guy he was about to throw to, and the throw would have gone wide if nobody was there, but he just happened to be he happened to be not on his man like he was supposed to be, but in just the right place, and he intercepted the ball. And then the other big thing that happened that was kind of like a, kismet type thing was they had Keaton Slovis overthrew his intended target, but he had been kind of scrambling when he did that, and it looked like it was if you were the defender, you were thinking, oh, I'm sitting on this easy interception, and then all of a sudden they had their receiver decided to trail back on the ball, and he just caught the ball and just ran it up for a touchdown. So it's kind of one of those things where, as my dad put it, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Hey, I'll tell you that much.
And then they had one other thing that happened during that game. BYU had to punt it. It was a 3-and-out, and BYU had to punt it, and the ball bounced, and it bounced a little higher than the returner was expecting it, and he jumped up and he tipped the ball, and then BYU recovered that punt and scored a touchdown on the next play. And it's like, oh well, things are just going our way tonight. So, anyways,
yeah,
USC.
BYU's mascot jumped over a flaming jump rope, so that was kind of cool.
Look, you can tell me otherwise, but I will stand firm in saying I think Cosmo is the best mascot in the
His name is Cosmo?
Yeah, Cosmo Cougar.
Huh. At least it's got alliteration, I guess.
But if you look at all the stuff he's done over the years in terms of social media and stuff, it's pretty crazy.
Well, he didn't lose his head, so he's got that going for him.
Oh yeah. But no, he always does stuff that people watch on social media the next day, so it's kind of fun to have a good mascot, even if our football team is just above average.
USC, they had a great first half, and then the second half happened. That's all I gotta say about that. Alex Grinch sucks. He hurts me and he makes me want to cry. He's not invited to my birthday party.
Oh, I wanted to see him there.
USC's offense is great. USC is great offensively.
Their offense is elite.
Their offense is great.
Their defense seems like it's just north of high school.
I jokingly sent. I'm going to the game tomorrow, and I sent it to my buddy who I'm going to the game with tomorrow. I made the comment. I said, well, I guess Caleb Williams is the best defense. So realistically, if the defensive plan is keep Caleb on the field, I guess we're doing okay.
Yeah. Oh man, no. USC.
You shut your mouth, you filthy slut.
I hate USC.
Yeah, so ignore everything he says. When he says they're going to lose back-to-back games to Washington and Oregon, just realize he's a hater and has to watch Big 12 football every week.
And
has to watch Big 12 football, so he's just a bitter old man.
Mark it now.
I'm not going to mark it now.
Not Utah.
I'll tell you what. If they lose, here, you know what? You want to make a bet? Here, let's make a bet. You want to make a friendly wager on this? Because I think this could actually be fun. I'll tell you what. If USC loses,
that doesn't involve actual money.
No. If USC wins, if USC just wins one, they don't have to win both. They have to win one. You have to do this. You have to do the podcast and your stream in a USC shirt or jersey.
Yeah, but then I have to spend money.
It's like, go to Walmart. It's $20.
Well, they're not going to be in my Walmart. Well, maybe, or maybe
order on
what I'll do,
Amazon.
maybe. Well, I was gonna say, can my other option, if I don't necessarily have the money, could my other option just be to be like have like a USC wallpaper behind me?
Yeah, but the whole
it has to be a shirt.
It has to be a shirt because the thing would be if they lose both games, I have to wear a BYU shirt.
Oh, okay.
That's the trade-off.
Well, I'll find the cheapest shirt I can, and then maybe I'll just order like a bib, and I'll wear a bib.
So wait, because like,
okay, wait, hold on. They have to win both or they have to. So for me to win the bet,
they have to lose.
To win both.
No, they have. You said they have to lose both for you to win.
Fine, I'll take the bet. That's how sure I am.
And I'll tell you,
lose to Oregon and Washington.
It's 20 $20. The cheapest.
Do I have to wait for what if hold on? So what if USC goes on and beats I think it's Oregon that they play first.
Mm-hmm.
No, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So what if USC goes on and beats Washington, and then that's a home game for USC too.
Yep.
I'm still calling it.
It's $22.
I'm a believer in Penix.
It's $22 too much for a shirt.
All bets are off, though. All bets are off if either Caleb Williams or Penix.
If they're not fully healthy, that's
Caleb
fine.
Williams or Penix goes down,
That's
or if Penix goes down.
That's fine.
It's like you can't hold me.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
All of a sudden, Oregon sucks because
I'm not a filthy Utah fan. I will give the benefit of when your quarterback's not healthy. That's a reasonable excuse for sucking. That's fine. But okay, it's $22 too much for a shirt because I found a USC shirt and a BYU shirt that are $22.
No, I can probably do that. This is a game a few weeks away anyway. So.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if we set the limit like $22 on Amazon.
Yeah, I could do that. I actually have a gift card I got from work to Amazon.
There you go.
I can.
There you go.
Write it off.
Or do you want or say if you want to make it straight cash, we could do $20 for that 20. It'd be 25 because it'd be five gift subs, which is $25 to the winner's channel on Twitch.
Ooh, no, let's do it because then if we do this, then you can post a short on YouTube of me wearing a USC shirt or you wearing a BYU shirt.
That's true.
Then people will be like, "Oh, look at Specs. He's a Taylor Swift fan because Travis Kelce was also wearing a BYU shirt."
I only like one Taylor Swift album, and it's 89. That's it.
You like a whole album from Taylor Swift?
I don't
even know a full album.
I think it's like 5 songs. Hey, hold on.
I don't mind Taylor Swift. And when I was in college, the first college roommates I had, we all had admitted crushes on Taylor Swift. So we all,
I don't think I know the whole album. I think I know like.
We all had such an open crush on Taylor Swift that the girls in our church came by and tagged our door with a bunch of Taylor Swift stuff, and we just left it there.
That's adorable. No, it was.
We were in love with her. Tay-Tay.
No, I think I know 1, 2 out of that album. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 albums out of 14. There's 14. I don't know that's Lex edition. I know 6 songs out of where is it? Oh my god, I went away again. Son of a gun. There we go. 6 songs out of 12. I know half the album. All right. I guess I know the whole album. I know half. Way up.
Oh, right. No, yeah. But yeah, no, USC is gonna lose to Washington and Oregon. I was already correct. I called Utah losing to Oregon State. I know what I'm talking about.
Do you?
I do.
In your mind, you do.
Oh, trust
as long as they beat Utah and I get my revenge, I care less what the hell they do. Just beat Utah, beat
and
Notre
the way
Dame.
Utah's going, I feel like even if Utah gets
they talk
Cam
so
Rising back,
they didn't look good.
I think USC easily wins that game.
So basically,
it doesn't look good for them getting Cam back either. So
because they play they play Arizona tomorrow, and then then they play Notre Dame, which will be a giant game, and then Utah.
Here, you want to hear something you'll like and easily agree with?
What?
So Utah plays Cal next week. They're probably going to win that game because Cal's trash.
Yeah, Cal sucks.
Well, Cal's mediocre now. I guess they're not trash. They've risen the level of being average. They're going to lose to USC and Oregon back to back. And then they'll beat Arizona State because again trash. And then they'll lose to Washington. So,
they can lose they lose 4 games
actually, and then if Cam Rising's not back, they'll lose to Arizona after that.
What a shame.
So this is okay. You might not at the end there. That's more of a throw-in.
No, that's fine.
The other ones are my guarantees. They're going to lose those other games. I think it will be if Cam Rising's not back, they're going to lose to Arizona.
Man, they're gonna fit right. Man, they're gonna fit right in with the rest of the trash in the Big 12.
So they're gonna lose 3 of their next 5 games.
God, like I said, they're gonna fit. They're gonna fit in well with the rest of the trash in the Big 12.
Utah fan right now.
I'm just you have to admit the Big 12's weak.
This year, yes, but
next year, they'll get better next year.
As you well know, things in conferences change year to year really rapidly. So,
but
that's why I hate whenever Utah fans are like, "We're gonna run this game."
They're not gonna run the conference.
They're not going to.
Colorado's gonna run that conference, unfortunately.
Actually, I don't even think Colorado's going to. Not unless they get a full, super healthy year from what's his face,
Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter. Shador's probably gonna get drafted.
Shador's great. Don't get me wrong.
Shador's gonna get drafted.
But yeah, he's probably
in the first round.
Travis Hunter's probably gonna be gone, and it's who are they pulling it?
We'll see, because like I say with recruiting, and I stand by this when it comes to recruiting. When it comes to recruiting, the kids might not know who Dion is, but their dads sure as hell know who Dion is.
Yeah, well,
and sometimes that matters.
It takes more than one good year of recruiting to turn around a program, and I honestly think or Colorado's still not there yet.
I mean, USC did it, but barely.
USC literally took.
We took a whole team.
USC hired a coach,
and he took everyone with him.
Who literally just said, "All right, taking all the key players from this team and moving them to this team." And then he just and then he's just been able to start the rest of the guys that who's their last coach,
Clay Helton.
He took the rest of the few good guys that Clay Helton had, combined them, and said, "Yeah, it was a good team."
Hey, and that's how you got Keaton Slovis. You're welcome.
Hey,
you're welcome.
Your memory of Keaton Slovis was bad.
I'm gonna ask Nick about him tomorrow, because I'm gonna guarantee to say the same thing about him that I said.
He's probably gonna say he'd probably say he was good his freshman year, because that's
maybe
statistically, if you look at it, he was good his freshman year and then not great the other years. But it's 2019 he was, 2020 was 2020. 2021 he was hurt, and then 2022 he's just in a bad offense. So I think the reason you're seeing Keaton Slovis making plays for BYU.
No, I was gonna say sorry. He was with Pitt last year.
Yeah, no. The reason he's against, yeah. Well, and they have just a horrible offensive game plan. And if you look at their quarterback now, the one that transferred in there for Pitt, he also sucks. So it's it's just it seems like more of a Pitt problem than a Keaton Slovis issue. So I honestly think by the end of this year, based on how BYU performs, Keaton Slovis is like a day 2, maybe day 3 draft guy.
Yeah.
And so BYU will have 3 quarterbacks in a row get drafted. But one of those was Zach Wilson. So.
Speaking of Zach Wilson, you are still high on him.
I was telling you this before we started recording. I honestly think that. Well, no, maybe it was just in the. No, it was before we started recording. I was trying to remember if it was in CJ's stream. I think that Zach Wilson throws for 3 or 4 touchdowns tomorrow or Sunday against. And by the time this is up, you'll know whether or not that's true. But against Denver. And then Brees Hall probably runs for another 1 or 2, and so then
I'd be fine with that.
You're gonna see like a huge, just like piling on of Jets points against, which is funny because the Broncos are favored by 2.5, but I just think that Vegas didn't catch what a lot of people caught, which is Zach looked pretty good. He looked pretty good against a good Chiefs defense. So like some people are like, he didn't look amazing, and I'm like, yeah, but this is a good enough Jets or a good enough Chiefs defense that any good quarterback would look good, but not amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm interested to see what he does Sunday, because I mean, if he comes out and he throws 2 interceptions and is just barely able to climb over 100 yards and they scrape a win, then it's like, yeah, no, the Zach Wilson era is done. But if he comes in and throws for 4 touchdowns and continues to make these awesome back shoulder passes and is getting out his reads fast, and it's like, that's what he's doing. Like, if you look at the film, he was coming out, he was going 1-2 throw.
Yeah.
Boom. Like, and then he started these nice back shoulder passes. He had a couple moments where they were like, wow, that looked like Aaron Rodgers out there. And it's like, so it's like, he's got some stuff. He's got some good stuff going for him. And if he can play like he did last Sunday, then they'll dominate the Broncos. And then it'll be the following. If he can string together a performance against the Broncos and then whoever they play the following week, then it's like, well, maybe Zach Wilson can guide them to not a completely lost season. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, like I said, when they went into that game, I was like, this is Zach's last chance. If he plays horrendously against the Chiefs, even though it's the Chiefs, they were going to bench him and they were going to pull in, I forget who their backup quarterback is. But they pull in the backup quarterback. No, he wasn't their backup. He's their practice squad right now.
Oh, Trevor Siemian.
What it would have been? Yeah, no. They have who's their backup QB? Hold on. By the way, I just Googled this, and Cam Newton says $5.5 million isn't enough to be Jets' backup QB.
All right.
Who's their backup quarterback? Jets. I'm just gonna look up Jets' depth chart. Sorry, their backup quarterback is like a guy who would have basically been on the practice squad. Tim Boyle.
Oh. There you go.
No, yeah. Trevor Siemian's their practice squad guy right now. But I think if Zach Wilson had lost last week, like had just been horrible last week, I should say, then Tim Boyle would have come in to finish the game, and then Siemian would have been their starting quarterback from there on out, and they would have just been like, yeah, we're just giving Zach more time to blah blah blah, and then they would have tried to bury him until Rodgers could come back, and then once his contract expired, they'd just be like, okay, he's gone.
All right. Well, on that note, guess what time it is, Bryce? Guess what time it is?
Pick 'em!
Yeah, it's time to pick 'em. I went 2-1 last week. Bryce wasn't here, so we had CJ, our guest picker last week, who also went 2-1. So Bryce will start it this week. And who does Bryce get?
Let's see. Big money, big money, big money.
My Indianapolis Colts who are a 2-point dog, I believe, at Tennessee. 2.5-point dog at Tennessee.
Well, they're at home, I think.
Yeah, they're home. And they do.
I gotta go with Tennessee.
And I believe Jonathan Taylor is back for this game.
I'm sorry, Specs, but I gotta go
It's
with
fine.
Tennessee.
It's fine. They're gonna lose anyway. So,
Tennessee is just decent enough to beat the Colts.
Tennessee sucks.
They're just decent enough to beat the Colts. Yeah, they suck in terms of relative to like the good teams in the league, but how about them Rams though? Puka Nacua.
Colts should have won that game, and if you're saying they shouldn't have, you're a liar.
Why do you think the Colts should have won that game? They lost.
No, I know they lost, so it doesn't matter.
They blew coverage against Puka Nacua.
That was the one time they blew. It was the one time they blew coverage too, since like the second half. Which sucks.
Yeah, they blew coverage, and he scored his first touchdown of his career.
The Bills, who are playing Jacksonville. I will take the Bills -5.5.
Ooh.
I believe, right? 5.5.
Remember Monday night's game, the Packers and Raiders is both of us are choosing. So just one more for me and one more for you. So it can't be the Packers or the Raiders.
Correct. All right, pick number 2. The Broncos, who play the Jets.
Jets. We were already talking about this. Jets, and they are going to destroy the spread.
Are they +2.5? They're +2.5, right?
Yeah, they're going to destroy that. They're going to at least 2 touchdowns.
Aren't you? And my last pick is the Rams, who are
team. My team.
Who are playing the
Eagles.
Eagles by 1 million.
I don't know though. Only reason I say I don't know for you, Specs. I wish I could choose this game.
+4.
Rams. The only reason I say I could see the Rams pulling out a win against the Eagles is Kupp is back. So now you got two elite options on wide receiver between Puka and Cooper Kupp.
And Tutu Atwell, who's stud.
Tutu Atwell, who's really good too. Yeah, so it's like.
All right, now for the Monday night game, we got Packers Raiders.
I hate this one. It's really kind of a tale of 2 terrible teams. Well, not terrible teams. 2 very mediocre teams. I'll go with my boy Jordan Love.
We're doing the same thing, so I'm doing Packers -2.5.
Oh, we're both taking the Packers.
The Raiders suck.
Yeah.
They allowed 5 sacks.
I honestly think Jordan Love is going to be one of the next big quarterbacks in the league.
I think he's going to be good. I don't trust Jimmy G, and I don't trust that defensive. I don't trust the other line because they allowed 5 sacks to Khalil Mack last week. 6 or 7 sacks to Khalil Mack last week? Like, they were just letting him through. He's like, hello. Yeah. Come on in. The water's great. Or something. But that was the pick'em, and that's probably where we're gonna leave it tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Coffee with Specs and Bryce. You can catch Bryce on BYU. New episode either is out now. It is out now. Both episodes, the post game and pre-game episodes of Bryce on BYU. Check him out if you are fans of any Utah sports. Also check me out, Specs Swing, coming out. So what was on?
That sounds weird to my ears. By the way, I always feel like it should be Specs Swings.
I don't know what I called it. I thought it was Spec. Well, my joke. I wanted to
call it Specs Swing, but
I wanted it
for some reason I always want to hear Specs Swing.
Because my whole thing was it was supposed to be a play on check swing, Spec Swing, check swing. So what was on Bryce on BYU this week?
This week, as you mean as of
like what's
Monday?
on the episode that the people we want to send them to?
So this is the most recent episode for Monday will have been the bye week episode for BYU. I'm going to talk about Utah State's game. I'm going to talk about some some of the stuff with the we didn't ever in this. It doesn't matter, but the trucks for Utah, I'm gonna give my thoughts on that. I'm gonna give my thoughts on Zach Wilson. Give my thoughts on whether BYU can actually fix their running offense or not.
Nice.
All that stuff.
And then for Spec Swing, we talk about the MLB postseason going into the NLDS and how I tell you who I think will win all 4 series and why the wild card series kind of sucked. We also get into Billy Epler and that situation, and the Angels with the firing of Philip Nevin alongside continuing.
Oh boy, Philip Nevin.
Also continuing our series, breaking down every team in baseball in reverse order, and we're on the Colorado Rockies this week. They are terrible. That's what we got going on around us here in the Specs Gaming universe here, all that stuff. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for liking this on your podcast listening of choice. Watching this on YouTube, made to the end of this hour-long thing. Leave a like down below and comment down below and tell Bryce he's wearing a goddamn USC shirt in a few weeks. So all that being said, my name is Specs.
Ain't happening, bro. Ain't happening.
All right, whatever. My name's Specs, and that's Bryce, and we'll see you guys all in the next one.